Karan and Dakshita, you can start introducing the speaker. It's already 4:04.
So shall we start, ma'am?
Yes, yes, you do start. You can introduce her and then we can go ahead with the session.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
So a very good evening to everyone present in the meeting today for the evening session. I am your host Karan Pandita, current sports secretary of your college, along with Dakshita Patil. Today's evening session is all about Indian classical music by Srimati Radhika Devarajan. Srimati Radhika Devarajan began her Carnatic violin journey at an age of 9. She received her initial training in violin from Sri S.V. Ramachandran in Mumbai and pursued her learning further with Padma Shri A. Kanyakumari. She has undergone many musical training under the guidance of vocalist Professor R. Subbalakshmi and Srimati Kalyani Ramani. With the advantage of learning under various gurus, Srimati Radhika Devarajan has been able to create her own unique style in music. Srimati Radhika Devarajan took her passion for Carnatic music further by starting Swaradhaka. Her students perform regularly both solo and in group, participating in music festivals, both local and national, fundraising events and concerts. They have won several prizes in competitions conducted by Cleveland, Aradhana and CMANA. So now I am very pleased to invite Sri Radhika Devarajan for interaction with students. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Namaskaram to everyone. Hope you had a wonderful day, and we'll start today with the very, very big topic actually, Indian classical music and Indian music in general. So I'm sure you all listen to music, different genres of music. So let's give a brief introduction to that. So what is music? So when you say music, it is something which suits your heart, right? So I would say any sound evolving from the universe or nature in succession with regular intervals, right? It may be vibrational at a higher frequency or a lower frequency. It's music, right? So shall we start with a very simple exercise? I want you all to participate. Okay. So sit straight. Okay. I'll participate in it too. Sit straight and join your palms very loosely in your hand. Okay. Complete silence of thoughts. Try listening to your heartbeat. You can find it. You can keep your hand on it too. Okay. Well, that's the first rhythm you hear. Whose when you are in your mother's womb, you hear your mother's heartbeat. That is the first sound of evolution that you hear, right? So we'll further take this exercise. So I want you to all shut your eyes, stay in the same position, relax your body, relax your shoulders and arms, and keep your mind calm and clean, and listen to the sound. When you concentrate on the Shruti or the pitch, how did you feel? Anybody? Got your piece? You can raise your hand in that digital platform. You feel refreshed as if someone cleaned your head. Some of you may feel like that. Little less anxious. Little less anxious. Okay? Slightly more connected to your inside. That is your consciousness. Right? That's what music does. That's what it's supposed to do. Very therapeutic, very rejuvenating, right? Relaxes, creates collective consciousness. At that point of time, you can feel, experience your insight. You don't know what it is. Not your lungs or your heart or something. It is your soul that you can't see. There is no organ in your body called the soul, but it's there. That's what you are, right? So that is music. That's music. It can be any form of music in the entire world, and that connects you to that. So that is music. All right. So music brings us very close to ourselves. Okay. And we are slightly more in sync with the universe itself when we connect to good music. Okay. It creates harmony, inner peace, like the sounds of birds, the rustle of trees, even the tap water which trickles in your house, the rain outside, okay, the birds chirping, they all are our initial inspiration and initiation towards the music, world of music. All right. So I know that you know all of this, but that is the fundamental of it. So from there, we go to what was our music or Indian music. Okay, the history of the music, I would say. So, how old is our Indian classical music? Can anybody tell me? Anybody can answer. All answers are welcome. You don't have to know. You can even guess.
Ma'am, maybe 5,000 years ago.
6,000 years ago.
6,000 years.
All right. Now I'll give you a clue. Okay. You've seen a Saraswati playing Veena, right?
Yes,
Shivaji
ma'am.
with a drum. If you see Nandi, the bull of Shivji, he's playing the drums, right? Then you see Vishnu, he's always with a conch, right? So how old is that? No idea, right? So that's old as our Indian classical music. You really can't date it. You can say a few thousand years ago, but what was that? Like, how old is Shivji or all these gods that I named? And there are so many others that you have in Indian culture. Some of them are with some other living creature, like an animal, a serpent, a bird, and or you have something, a weapon, a tool, or an instrumental music which makes sound, right? So really can't date it, right? So if you say you want to specifically put, even the narda is always with the tambura and the chimes, right? So these instruments have been there forever. So if you see the Vedas, the four Vedas that we have, the Sama Veda, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Other Veda, the Sama Veda is one of the oldest. And that Sama Veda, when you chant it, the melodic tune that is there in Sama Veda is actually called the Ragam Karahara Priya. I'll just sing and show you that raga. You can just sing the. Just to give you a very small introduction to it. That's my pitch. That's my piece, okay? Sari Gama Padani Sani Da Pamadani. This is a melodic tune of Saptaswaras. This Saptaswara is present in every culture, in every form of music, 7 notes, right? Satsu. So, based on this, this is a small phrase that I sang, Karanratya. But this is the tune melodic scale in which Samaveda is based. So when did we get Vedas? Nobody knows, right? So that's how old music is. Categorization, theoretical aspects came very recently. It evolved, but music always existed. And Indian classical music cannot be dated. It is so old. It had different forms and formats, presentations, all that is different. But actual music cannot be beat. That's how it is. Okay, so we will go into a brief history a little more. The Indian classical music went through a lot of changes as the invasions took place in our subcontinent. So the most recent invasion, I would say, was the Mughal period, almost about 900 years ago. I would say roughly, give or take 100 years. And they brought in a tremendous amount of influx of their rich music. They also, the Persians had a lot of rich music. So they brought in amazing poetry, their Qawwali style, their Sufi style, singing ghazals. All that was a huge introduction, and I would say an addition to an already rich culture. So they just blended in and they improved it to such a great extent. So that's how the Indian music goes. We'll go to the different forms of Indian music. So the oldest form of Indian music, I would say, is folk music. Because earlier civilizations were not so sophisticated. They were like in the woods, in sync with the nature, living with the nature, right? So they took aspirations, what is it? Not aspirations. They took initiate, so tidbits of this music that they heard around them and incorporated with their own improvisation, and they created music according to the topography. So that is folk music, and that's extremely age old. So similar to the rich varied culture of our land, multiple genres of music to evolve with the contribution of various generations in this folk art. Okay, so in India, we can proudly boast of 19,500 dialects. So if Marathi, that use most of you Marathi, then you know how many variety of variations of Marathi in Maharashtra itself. Border of Karnataka is different. The north of Maharashtra is different. Bombay itself is different. The Kolis speak differently. And officially, we have 121 languages. So there must be some creativity in every one of them. So imagine the number of variations we have. You should be very proud of it, actually. So we can just imagine the diversity of folk music associated with it, right? Folk music is the oldest form of music in existence since age-old times, right? Sometimes it is with lyrics. There is poetry in that. Sometimes it is just humming. They just hum in sync with the rhythm of the nature. Mostly in the mountainous regions, that's how they do. Okay, sometimes it is with drumming. Sometimes if you go to see in Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Nagaland, all those places, they have this bamboo. So they make sounds with the bamboo. And have you ever seen the bamboo stick dance? Not so easy.
Yes, ma'am.
You can get stuck in bamboo. It's very beautiful, the way they jump in sync and they dress up so beautifully, and they do very, very beautiful costumes they have. Okay, sometimes it can be only solos. So I have seen, now you have a YouTube, you can see so many of it. I love it. So I go to YouTube, I always go looking at the artist. So you in Rajasthan, you have, even in Maharashtra, you have, in every state, you have some folk art, which is like only solo, sung by one person. Generally, they will have what pitch I put right now, the Shruti box. They have an ektara to just keep their pitch in place. That is very important. So they use that and they sing. They sing beautifully. They have their own dialect. In that dialect, they have beautiful, simple poetry, nothing complicated. So that can always have like stories of their life. I went cattle grazing, right? I'm milking the cow, or some local deity of theirs. So they would have made a story out of their deity and given that deity a personality and a story of his life, and they will sing that. Sometimes it is just simple philosophy of life. They'll sing about that, which is true to everyone anywhere in the world. So that's how folk music is. And then they have a lot of instruments also, which they use in folk music. So just to name a few, Bihu Geet is very popular in Assam. It's popular everywhere also. And regarding folk music, some states they don't have the classical form of art, dance and music. Their folk is so strong. very strong. Like if you go to Rajasthan, their folk is very strong. If you go to Gujarat, their folk is very strong. Assam, all those places, their folk is extremely strong. So that is what in the strength. So if you go to places like UP or Maharashtra or Tamil Nadu, they have a very strong classical music form. They also have a folk, but they have a very, so it's not always that every region has its own classical form, but they definitely have a very strong folk music form. So then Bhavagita in Karnataka, that's very popular. Then you have Natapadigal or Kummi Patu in Tamil Nadu. Then you have Kajri in UP. You have Tappa in Punjab. Then you have Povada, Lavani, Baleri in Maharashtra. You must have all heard. In the older movies, if you see, they will always have these elements in them. So you would have definitely seen black and white movies and little after the black and white era, which is like mostly rural form of storytelling in our movies also. So that was a very important factor in our culture actually. Some of these are accompanied by folk instruments. So folk instruments are very important part of any kind of presentation, even in folk music. So Ektara, most important. So it'll go ding, ding, ding. You must have heard, right? So that is very important. That is to keep your pitch, because there is no music without pitch. So what is pitch? So any kind of music has two aspects. Like a child is born, a mother and a father, right? Mata and Pita. So Shruti is Mata, Laya is Pita. Together is music. So that's very important. But you can have only melodic forms also. You can have only rhythmic forms also. But when you join together, it's a complete form of presentation in any genre of music. Okay, so just to name a few of these musical instruments, we have dhol. Everybody must have heard. Very simple instrument. It doesn't have too many variations of sound, but it's good enough for that music. Manjira, jogya sarang, bansuri is just a bamboo instrument which came into classical form at a much later stage, because it was mostly only a folk instrument. Then you have bamboo thumping, as I told you. Then you have the duff, just like the dhol. Mursing, it is, I don't know if you have seen, Rajasthan is very famous, but classical Carnatic music in the south incorporated in the mainstream also. It is a needle and they hold it like this and they pluck it. They make sounds. It has got 2 or 3 sounds and they play all rhythmic combinations in that. Then Jaltarang, I'm sure you must have seen those spots of water and they go trickling on a very beautiful sound as water which comes, and they play almost everything. Then there are the Tuntuni. I love it. They sing so many beautiful songs in Maharashtra, in Tuntuni. Harmonium is very important in classical, folk, semi-classical, everything. Okay, so and there are so many others. All folk musicians are like other folk musicians, undergo training. They all undergo training to their previous generation. Most of the music in India is unwritten. Only poetry may be written, but the music is only passed on. It's a very personal connection they have with their teachers. May it be their grandfathers, forefathers, or people living around them, or their actual gurus. It's a very emotional bonding that they have, and they learn. They have become like more than their parents. That's how it is, the connection. Okay. Then the tarpa. Has anybody heard the tarpa? It's unique to Maharashtra. You should look it up. Okay. So tarpa is a wind instrument. I have seen all this when I was much younger. Now there's nothing available. Nobody comes around. Earlier they used to come with a huge bull, and then they'll play this. They will sing Bhavagita. They'll come and sing in your locality. It was so beautiful. You should all sit around and listen to them. That's not there. The culture is lost. So the tarpa is a wind instrument. It is core to Adivasis, Warli, Bil, Malhar Koli tribe community. It's a very important instrument. So when it plays, it creates a mesmerizing sound. It has got multiple sounds like the bagpiper in the Scottish area, like that. Known to be very auspicious for when it is played. So people call and they really go crazy because they're going to have some good news. That's the feeling they get. Okay, so most musical instruments are organically constructed by artists themselves, using resources locally obtained from the forest, trees, or riverside, or hides of dead animals. So they are like folk people. They live in sync with the nature. They won't do anything to harm the nature. They are the nature's natural protectors. They take from the nature only what they need, and never more. So if you see, they have a very minimalist attitude, which is so important actually. Anywhere you go, so I live in the US, so there you have the Native American, they will never pluck a leaf more than required. So that is the Adivasi crowd. They protected the land. They are the land's protectors. So you have to have a lot of respect and regard for them, because despite having come up so low, so far in life and having so much technology in this, we somewhere have lost the essence of life, which they have retained. So they have a good balance. So that's what they do. They use what is around them to make the instruments. Like the tarpa, as I was telling you, right? It is made out of bamboo, thin bamboo sticks, and they dry that gourd. It's like dudi. It's like a long vegetable kind of thing. They let it dry in the tree itself, and then it is hollow. Then they use that to blow from the bamboo. Okay, and then they use beeswax and dried coconut leaves. And similarly, they make it. He makes it himself. So beautifully they make and they play it. So for them, that is their prayer. That's how they pray. They are so emotionally bonded with their music and their culture and their environment. So that is what is folk actually. Like that, similarly, there are so many beautiful stories that they tell, and they sing in a different format that you may not be used to, but it's very, very organic, and it doesn't disturb your sync with yourself. It's so beautiful. Okay, then we move on to, anybody wants to contribute in folk music before we move on to semi-classical? Any examples or any experiences that
Semi-classical, ma'am.
Pardon? Okay, so
I think he was asking for semi-classical music.
semi-classical music. Okay, yeah, sure. Semi-classical music was after civilization took place and people started settling in villages, and semi-classical music was actually for a very long time, it was semi-classical music in our Indian history, because everything was ritualistic. So it was not that you're creating a love song here, but it would be there, but it will be in relation to a Radha Krishna or Shiva Parvati or Rama Krishna or something like that. So that will be always there as a background theme for semi-classical. And semi-classical, when you can divide it into two aspects. One is the lyrics and one is the music. So music is more repetitive. So how the structure would be, anywhere any Kabir you take, anybody, you'll have many paragraphs, and the first line will be of introduction, will be of one melodic tune, and the rest of them will be similar melodic tunes, but the poetry or the literature is very strong. So it will have, again, same thing, biography of a saint or who is already passed, or it will be a part of a very big mythology like Mahabharata or Ramayana, or so many other smaller stories which are connected to that, or only of the temple deity and the many experiences people have had in the past hundreds of years, which has been incorporated as poetry, as a poet, and that will be sung. So that is semi-classical. Semi-classical, generally, they will have occasions, they will sing in temples. They are called, in various forms, they're called Nama Sankirtanam in the south. They sing Bhagavate here. See, earlier, we had such a strong caste system. So it was not allowed for most sections of people, and only a selective elite class was allowed access to the temple or any form of knowledge for that matter, studies, art, music, that are not allowed for them. But as I said, music is from the heart. Nobody can stop you from singing. Right or wrong, it doesn't matter. Every time you sing to the God, He accepts it unconditionally. We as humans judge each other, but He doesn't. Anybody, any form of God. I won't say this God, that God. For me, everybody's one. So any form of God, you sing to that God. Your inner conscience, basically, it is unconditionally accepted. So that's how semi-classical music is like very strong in the emotions that they portray in the lyrics. So it's lyrical based. Semi-classical is mostly lyrical based, and I would like to bring certain things. You've all of you have seen the Varkari pilgrimage to Pandharpur. You have similar and many actually in India. Yeah. So it's beautiful. Nowadays, people post so many videos and they make movies out of them and post it in YouTube. It's like a pleasure to see all that. Okay. Then they have this dole, they have manjira, they create music, they chant and in sync, they dance and they go to the Lord's house. So it's beautiful. Then you have Bhakti Gita, you have Abhanga, right? They are still sung in many parts of Maharashtra. They still sing, like in the street. They come and they sit in tabla. They're carrying the tabla in hand. They have the harmonium. They're singing so beautifully. So that is also a part of, I would say, a kind of prayer that they do. That is single persons too. Even lot gatherings also they walk across. Like they go earlier. What they would do is all the saints. They would go singing street by street, and whatever they were given from every household, they'll collect and they will cook, and that is their food for the day. They'll never worry about the next day because they are so sure that the Lord, whom they pray, will come and take care of them. Right? Very simple thinking, but very profound. Okay, so that is one. Then what does it include? It has, again, same biopics of people, same the content is the same, but the expression is beautiful. The words are amazing, and some people who are like really good at music, they are very well trained, will bring versatility and variety in the performance aspect of it. Other than that, Namasam Kirtanams or like any these kind of group prayers, they are done in people's houses on occasions. They do during Navaratri, they do in Ganesh Chaturthi, they do during Shivaratri, and many other times that they have a congregation in the temple. They organize an event where people come and participate. In the south, they have something called the Shabarimala pilgrimage. You must have been quite familiar with the recent times, but anyway, not for that reason. I know of people who go in thousands to pay pilgrimage. It is a complete, like it's forested area, a lot of lions and tigers live there. But their devotion and their dedication and that surge in energy is so beautiful. It's a collective energy which rubs on everybody. Again, same thing, collective consciousness. That's what music does. Okay, it's not that I learned this song or that song. What did you gain personally, and how did your soul grow today? In effect of that experience that you have is the most important core concept of our Indian classical music. Okay, so this is what they do. Then in every state they call it in a different way. Some of them they call Dasarnama, Tevarnama in Karnataka. Yeah, as I said, they say Bhava Gita, Bhakti Gita in different forms. Essentially, it is all the same. And then they have the Sufi music, Kavalis. They all sing these again high energy in their depiction, very strong in their lyrics. So for a very great extent, for many years, lyrics was very important. Okay, so classical music as such was not associated with this. Semi-classical was very dominant. Classical music, I would say, came up maybe 200 years, 300 years maximum. Before that, everything was only semi-classical. It was all prayer-based, I would say. Okay. So then Indian classical music. So Indian classical music, I would say, is two types. So one is Hindustani Shastriya Sangeet and one is Carnatic music. So what is the difference in the similarity? I would, is there any music students here? Okay, so then I won't go too deep into it. I'll just stick to the top, you need to understand. So if you have twins in your house, okay, they don't look alike, fraternal twins, but twins, right? Same parents, same house, same experiences at home, but different personalities. Okay, one eats with the right hand, one eats the left hand. Okay, one likes blue, one likes red. Okay, but budget is the same, house is the same, food is the same, right? Interpretation is different. Similarly, you have Hindustani and Carnatic music. They have the same originalities and the same rags, but their interpretation of the rag is different. Their presentation is the same, different. Their stress and importance for each rag is different. Okay, so that's how is Hindustani and Carnatic music. Hindustani music is towards the north of India. As you know, north of India had major invasions from the Himalaya side, or the Pakistan side, of Hindu Kush mountain side. So they had a lot of, they went through a lot of changes, whereas the south was basically not touched at all. Maximum, a few of them came trickling in, but they didn't come much to the south. The south was too hot for them. So Hindustani music, I would say from Maharashtra, Orissa, Madhya Pradesh onwards, upwards, it's all Hindustani music. Down the 4 states, that is Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, is Carnatic style of music. So the language used for Carnatic music is Kannada, Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, mostly Sanskrit. Lot of Sanskrit is used. In the north, it's Hindi, Marathi. Marathi is Maharashtra. Carnatic, this Hindustani music is very popular, and they use a few other means the dialects of Hindi, like Bihari style, this style, that style. But yeah, so that's how it is there, and they have a lot of Urdu in it also when they perform. So that about it. Anybody wants to say anything? Please let me know. You can put your inputs also at any point of time. I don't want to be talking all the time. So in Hindustani music, Gharana is very important. So this Gharana, that Gharana. So they have a few Gharanas. That is Mewari, Gwalior Gharana, Patiala Gharana, Lucknow Gharana, Jaipur Gharana, Agra, Indore, Kirana. Like this is like their style of singing. So they're very, very proud of it, and they are quite strong about it. So earlier, what they would do, a big ustad is there, a great maestro is there. He's going to take a student. So that is for life. Okay. So he's going to spend his lifetime there for a while. Okay. So they will do a ceremony called a Ganda Bandhan. So everybody is called. It's a very big occasion. The student is come and they'll tie a thread in the hand of the student and formally accept the student. And then the student starts his riyas or his practice with that particular teacher. In South, we don't have that. We don't have that, but it's understood. We don't do a Ganda Bandhan, but we have a Gurukula Vasam. Gurukula Vasam is the student comes and stays at the teacher's house. Becomes a member of the house. Does the chores of the house, does everything for the Guru. Everything, right from pressing his legs to getting him the cup of coffee or anything. And the Guru will teach. He'll teach him anytime in the morning, afternoon, night, anytime the Guru pleases, the student has to come and learn. And whenever he's got the time, he has to seriously practice. And other students also live like that. If he's a very big teacher, there'll be a lot of other students there. And as others are learning, he has to listen. 1 year there all the time, because listening is a better teacher than actually learning. Okay, so that's how it is. And whenever the Guru performs somewhere, goes, or other artists come, he has to accompany them, go listen. Listening experiences and the styles are present. What did this person do at this point of time, that point of time? So a lot of inputs, and then organically he becomes a experienced musician. So that's how it was taught in the southern part of India. So that's very important. And other than that, money was not actually given as such. So, like you must have heard, I'm not sure everybody knows this Krishna Sudama story. When they went to the same Gurukul, Sudama was a very, very poor student, and Krishna was a rich person. Sudama couldn't afford to give anything, and he remained poor because he was a poor Brahmin, right? So, like that, there are many stories of Gurukula Vasam where students can't afford much, but they were anyway trained by the teacher because money was not taken and transacted. Whatever the student could give was given as fees from his house, whether it's grains or like it's he's a cloth merchant, he can give, or she makes good food, she'll bring good food. So that was how it was done. Money was not important. Even now, a lot of lineages like Gharanas or like they will not take money for teaching student. The student is always taught. Like my guru Kanyakumari, she doesn't take money, so she will teach for free. Other things when she's performing and all, she charges, but when she teaches, she doesn't take the money, even for me. So that's how it is. A lot of people follow that. Okay, so then the both of similarities I told about sur tal based. So sur and tal is very important, as I told you, mata pita. So that doesn't change. And an Indian classical music, unlike the Western, is like it's a setup. When you sit, even in as I said, folk also it is there, semi-classical also it is there. Percussion, vocalist, instrumentalist, always a team. So any kind of presentation you will see in classical also, there'll be a performer, main artist, a percussionist, and an instrumentalist. Both of them are accompanying that main artist. So the main artist can be a vocalist or can be an instrumentalist also, not necessarily only vocalist. Okay, so other than that, generally it is all impromptu. You are supposed to be as good as the main artist and accompany the main artist. Nothing is rehearsed. Generally, it's never rehearsed. So if you're going to see a performance, be sure the violinist has no clue, nor does the mridangist. You will know that day on the stage. He'll say, "Yeah, can I sing this? I'll sing this." Okay, if the violin doesn't know that, he's in trouble, because many big artists, they have so much of riyaz or practice is done. Their mind is already like at some zone. They will not decide until they sit there and what they feel they will sing. Even they don't know many times. Not always, many times. So that is the kind of practice they do. Our classical music is an unwritten form of music, whether it's not, that is Hindustani Shastriya Sangeet or Carnatic music. In Carnatic music, we have something called a Kriti-based singing. That is, Kriti means they are compositions already preset to a basic line of music, but improvised by every teacher, every performer. To a certain extent, it allows you the mobility to add your own inputs. With that in mind, they create the improvisation before, that is the alap, which is without the rhythm, and then the swar and the naraval, which comes in between or after the presentation. That's how Carnatic music is. Hindustani music doesn't do that. They stick to one rag or two rags, whether it's a 1 hour presentation or 3 hour presentation. That rag goes on for a while. And the improvisation is done. They show their expertise in the rag, the speed, then the rhythm, that is the music man. That's a whole other subject. So that is a lot of calculations. So we'll come to that later. So that's how they do. But in Carnatic music, they will show in a concert of like 3 hours. When the Hindustani people show like 2 rags, Carnatic musicians will show at least 10 songs of different rags. Rag is never repeated. So they'll start with a brisk song, then they'll warm up to a little slightly bigger song with smaller improvisations. Then they'll show quite a big chunk of improvisation in the song. And then the main piece will come that will go on for half an hour, 40 minutes. And then once you are like completely into the zone, then they'll show something brisk and nice to wake you up. And then they will show a tilan or something which is heavily math based. very perky and very nice. So that's how a Carnatic musician goes through it. So the presentations are very different, but when they sing together like Jugalbandi, it is amazing, because the same rag, which will give you very different flavors by two different artists sitting there, still they feel they are in sync. Um, they have that harmony in them to bring it so that it sounds like, they're one. So that oneness in that rag with two different improvisations gives you a big flavors. It's like amazing to hear. So the tabla, one will be accompanied by tabla and harmonium, one will be accompanied by the mridangam and the violin, sometimes flute. It depends on what the artist wants to invite, whom he wants to invite. So that's a Carnatic side of it. So other than that, there are certain rags which are very common to both, are used commonly. Some of them are not. There are many rules and regulations in how they are supposed to present. That is very important. And in like you have emotions, like the 9 rasas is very well depicted in every art, visual or performing. Whether it's like sculpture, painting, music, dance, the Navarasas are depicted very beautifully. Okay, so then they have this rags which are sung at specific time of the day. In Hindustani, it is very, very strongly followed. Carnatic, we do have, but it's not that implemented, because most concerts are in the evening. How will you sing a morning rag, right? So it's difficult. So, but in Hindustani, they have like rags are, evening rags is Yaman Kalyan, Yaman, Bhopali. Then you have late night, you have Durga. Early night, you have Durga. Late night, you have Jujavanti. Then you have Bhagyashree. Afternoon means Beam Plus. So this is like strictly followed. And when they learn music, the Hindustani people will, the student of Hindu, not people, student will stick to one rag and he will sit on it for months together. Unless he has got an understanding of that rag, the guru will say, work on it more, you need to still understand it. In Carnatic music, a student is like introduced to several rags and given a little flavor, because he's going to take time to mature. So in the meantime, let him get more introduction to more different flavors of different rags. And as he matures, those same rags will be taken to a higher level of complexity. So the approach is a little different, and improvisation is not taught in the beginning. It is taught at a much later stage, because unless and until the child has understood ABC, it can't go to XYZ. That's the approach. But in Hindustani, they say stick to one, understand it well, then we'll go to the next. So they both work beautifully. That's why the presentation is so different. Hindustani programs will start, the concert will start slow and then reach a big peak, and it's like beautiful there. So that's how it is. So each artist has got ability to take you to a different zone itself. The style is different, presentation is different. So they do hours of hard work. Like since the young age, they would have worked like 8-9 hours every day, just working on it. Believe me, they are very intelligent people and extremely talented. Then too, it takes such a long time to work on it and then reach that level. So it's very hard. And a performer, any performer, has to prove himself at every performance, because it's live, right? So it's a lot of mental pressure they go through, a lot of thought they go through. If you notice on a stage, there'll be a lot of water bottles. It'll be somewhere behind or in the front. Why? Because their brains are like, it's in a boiling point. They're thinking so hard that they need to keep drinking, because they need to get hydrated. It's very important for them. Okay. So other than that, I think I completed this. Yeah. So the performance, main artist, instrumentalist, and accompanist. Okay. So what about the accompanist? So the accompanist in a Shastri Sangeet, Hindustani kind of music, will be a harmonist. Generally, there will be a harmonist and a tabla player. Tabla is a two-piece instrument, and it is used why for a reason, because tabla has different points on it, which gives different sound effects. Okay, the two pieces of tabla will give you almost 20 sounds, 20 different sounds. And a good tabla player can recreate the rag in his tabla. He will sing music in the tabla. Same way with the Mridangist in Carnatic music. So when you perform, you're not performing a solo. When you perform a solo, you play as a soloist. But when you perform with an artist, you make sure you sound like one. So that's why it's called accompaniment. Okay. At that point of time, we cannot say I'm better than you, I'm doing something. So they are a team. So they just sing. And when they sing, you will know because you also sink into it. That is good music. That's how they try. That's what they try to create. So that is very important. So, and then in a instrumental presentation, you have a few instruments which are very frequently used in Shastri Sangeet. One is sitar. Then you have sarod. Sarangi, Chennai. Chennai is very difficult actually. All these are very difficult instruments.
Harmonium.
Yeah, harmonium. Harmonium also. In Maharashtra, is like harmonium is like the king. So harmonium is there. They play solo in harmonium too. Other instruments, I would say Rudra Veena is one. It's a very big instrument actually. It's very difficult to play a Rudra Veena. Very few of them play it. Then even Vishwa Mohan Bhatt. Have anybody heard Vishwa Mohan Bhatt? His guitar. Not too popular, but yes, it is there. So what they do is they change the frets of the guitar because you need melody, right? You can't pluck. It's a plucking instrument. So you need to move your hand. So they they alter the instrument, and which makes it comfortable to play the Indian style of music. So they add that also. So I would say guitar also.
मैम
And,
हार्प नहीं यूज करते क्या?
pardon?
हार्प नहीं यूज करते?
Harp.
हाँ, उसमें भी स्ट्रिंग्स होते हैं ना अलग-अलग,
Harp
मल्टीपल
is
स्ट्रिंग्स.
a very big instrument. So what happens, to give that speed is very difficult. There is only limitations on a harp. Even in
Okay.
Western music, they don't use harp beyond a point. They can only
Okay.
play a certain, even though it's such a big instrument, it can't give you that flexibility. They don't use harp beyond a point. They can play slow music, and they can give an effect to an existing music. So they give harp. Beyond that, they don't use. Because of the kind of music that we make. Actually, violin is also a part of Hindustani classical music. But I don't see as much of it being used as a harmonium. Harmonium is an excellent accompaniment instrument. Other than that, yeah, Pakavach. Have you seen Pakavach? It looks like a mridangam. It's a one piece. A lot of people use Pakavach. I like the sound of it. It's very resonating, very nice. It's a one piece. It's like a very popular percussion instrument, but it is just one piece. Yeah, sitar, sarangi, santosh, shenai, bansuri. So in bansuri, they have different bansuris. So a bigger bamboo will give a deeper sound. A smaller bamboo will give a higher pitch sound, which is very good for like fast notes. So you will see flutist he will have many rings of colors in that flute. Okay, so that is his markation that he needs to have because he needs to blow there at that intensity or whatever he marks it up according to his wish. He gets it marked, and then he has smaller ones also to give a effect because how long will you listen to one sound, right? So they use different effects of the same pitch, and they will play in different flutes. So he has many flutes. He'll have a bag of flutes always with him. Okay, so that is it. Then tabla, he has to have a particular tabla for one pitch. So I'll show you one. Okay, I'm just on this. Okay, can you hear? See this pitch. Okay. Now I'm going to see. You hear the pitch drop, right? Okay. Listen. Drop. Okay. Now, this is an excellent pitch for instrument. Okay. The lower the pitch, the better for an instrument. Every instrument has a particular pitch in the low, which is like best suited for extracting the sound of that particular instrument. I'll show you Lata Mangeshkar's pitch. Okay. Now listen carefully. So high. Okay, I came up by 10 points. That's her pitch. Okay, so my pitch is not there. This is A sharp or 6 plus. So I am at 4 plus. I am comfortable at 4 pitch or 5. Fuller range. I go a little higher, I go a little lower. Depends on what my comfort is. Okay, so that pitch is very important. So certain instruments you can change the pitch, certain instruments you cannot change the pitch. Tabla, I will have a pitch for 1 or 2 range, that's it. Same way with the instrument like any other percussion instrument, that's how it is. So they will ask you what is your pitch, and they will bring a tabla according to that. Okay, so Navarasas, I told you about the Navarasas, right? So what are the Navarasas? I'll tell you. The Shringara means decorative, right? Hasya, laughter. Karuna, emotion like bhakti and like sadness and like you have empathy for someone. Raudra, anger. Veera, valor, strong and like a good soldier. Okay. Bhayanaka, scary. Vibitsa, shock and awe. Okay. Adbhuta, amazed. Okay. Shanta, very calm. So these are the 9 rasas. So the ragas are also based on 9 rasas. You have so many ragas. So if you take the Carnatic music, they will start with the energizing raga because you're just starting the concert. You want to bring up the mood of the concert, right? So they will add certain ragas only for the starting. Most of the time they will take a Hamsadvani. You would have heard in all these Ganesha Chaturthi songs, you will have an Hamsadvani in that. Okay, you will have a what to say, Gaula is one raga, Hamsadvani is a raga. Then you have Nate. Nate is very important. Sarega, very very fast-paced ragas. So the fast-paced ragas bring up the energy. The more slower-based ragas will be into the middle of the concert where you're seasoned into thinking about listening to the concert. They'll come to the slower paced ragas because it's needed there. It just calms you completely. Then they will do a major presentation. You are ready mentally. So that's how they do. Okay. And ragas based on seasons. Okay. So if it's rain, it's Megh Malhar. It's a change of season in the spring. It's Basant Bahar. It's a very hot day in summer. Deepak. So there are many similar ragas in Carnatic music also. You have Amrita Varshini, which is supposed to be the rain-bearing rag. Kannada, that is also just like Megh Malhar, somewhere similar to that. Okay. So then, other than that, I just want to touch upon the rhythm part of it. So as the melody, one part, the 50 other percent is melody and rhythm. So in rhythm, you have beat cycles. You are all familiar, you all listen to a lot of music. Rhythm is so important, just attracts you completely. So the complexity of the rhythm is a complete different subject on its own, and it has got simplest of like teen tal you say in Hindustani music. It's a 3-beat cycle, and we use in Carnatic music we have a 8-beat cycle or a 3-beat cycle. Both are the simplest one. So you have a beat like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This can be further divided 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So 4 into 8, 32. Okay. So you have 32 aksharas per cycle. Now this can be changed into 1, 1, 2, 2. So 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. The 4 count becomes 8. So you have 64 in one cycle. Okay, so then you can still bring it down to 6 also. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Same cycle of 8. So 6 into 8. Okay. Then you have other talams which are like not 8, but they are 14-bit cycles. Like that, there are several cycles of count in which the intra count can also change. So when you add all of this, it comes to basic 7 talas into 5 variations of intra-beat. Okay. And this lagu that they say this count can change into 3 or 4 or 5, 7 or 9. So that alone in one tal itself, you get 5 variations into 7 basic tals, that is 35. Then the intra-beat, if you add another 5, it comes to 175 talas. Other than that, you have other uneven talas, which is chapu talam, 1, that is there. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1 plus 2, 2 plus 1 plus 2, that is 5. Okay, double of that is 10. Takadimi, taka, takadimi, 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 taka, takadimi, takadimi. That's how you count. Then you have 7. Takita, takadimi, takita, takadimi. Takita, takadimi, takita, takadimi, takita, takadimi, takita, takadimi. You can try.
And
Okay,
accordingly,
so I'll show
tabla
the
is played.
correct. Oh yeah, that is played just on that. Plus, tabla or whichever tabla is there, any kind of percussion that you play. First, you have to understand this beat cycle, and you have to learn a lot of variations of how to split. Suppose if I say this 32, which I said no 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. This 32, how all can you split? So you have to understand how all you can split the 32. Or if you take this 5, suppose you take 5. Okay. 2 plus 1 plus 2, 2 plus 2 plus 1, 3 plus 2, 2 plus 3, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So many ways you can split the 5, right? So like that, that complexity improves and becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. So that is percussion math, music math. It can get very complex. So when people sing something, in the end, you find that like, very, very attracting. They have actually calculated like one cycle of like 128 aksharas into 3 times, and they should know where it falls in a 8-bit cycle. It should end like in this last bit correctly. So they back count. That's what they do. They back count in a split second on the stage. They have to read like this. If the artist who's singing has prepared and come, the violinist takes only 1 split second to figure that out. He doesn't have time. He has to play it, which looks so simple on the stage. That is why they drink water. So it's a lot of exercises that they do. So if you are a violinist, you can't just sit and play. You have to know percussion to a certain extent. You have to be able to be a good singer so that you incorporate everything in you. So all artists, whether it's semi-classical, very rarely semi-classical, classical, all artists, they know more than one form of music. If they're a singer, they would have definitely learned some instrumental because it has its own pluses. If you are a percussionist, you can't just keep playing some math, right? You're playing for music, so you have to understand the music. So they would have all undergone training in vocal, all of them. They may not be performing as such on the stage, but they definitely have learned it. It is a part of becoming a whole musician. When you have not done so, and you're only stuck to one form of music, suppose you're a vocalist, you have only learned vocal, that flaw somewhere will show. If you are a very good musician and you're sitting on the audience side, somewhere it will show that, okay, she can understand this. She's not learned an instrument. He will pick it up like this. So it's very important to understand. And of course, suppose you're performing and Mridangist is playing for you, you have to appreciate him. No, he's playing for you. You can't just keep singing your own stuff, right? So in order to appreciate him, you have to understand what he's playing. He may play something really beautiful to make your song look good. You have to look at him and thank him. Just look at him and smile is good enough. So that rapport and the bonding on the stage, that just takes any performance to a very high level. So that is very important, that rapport. So for any Hindustani kind of music or this music, any music, because our music is basically very impromptu. There's hardly, he may say, musician may say, I'm going to sing this rag, but what is he going to do in that? Even he doesn't know. He's going to sit there and figure it out that day. Whatever comes to him, he's going to do it. It's a performing art. So that's how Hindustani classical or Carnatic classical goes. It's impromptu. In classical music, in Carnatic music, there are more percussions. One is the mridangam. Like tabla, mridangam is the main instrument. Why? Because again, it is in one side. It has two sides, and it has got almost 22 sounds, multiple sounds. He can give an effect from anywhere. Just like tabla, he can recreate a song completely in mridangam if he is competent enough. That is one. Then ghatam is pot, clay pot, not like the regular pot that you have at home or then pot to drink water. This is specifically made by a different kind of mud, red mud, and it's very thick and heavy. And what they do is they generally put the mic inside of the pot and they hit. So what happens, it gives different sounds. It doesn't have so many variations as the mridangam, but it is the second in line in a stage for percussion. And then you have the ganjira. Ganjira is like a definitely small one. It's like 8 inches and it is got lizard skin, monitor lizard skin. Yeah. So they apply water from behind, make it a little moist, and they hit. It also doesn't have so many as, it has lesser variations in sound, but it's there. Then you have the morsing, as I told you. The morsing is also used. So the least is the morsing. The first is the mridangam. A great singer may have all the percussions at one point of time on stage. It just creates more sound. So more sound variations, sounds beautiful. And in a concert, in a Carnatic concert, after she has sung a main piece, the solo is given to the percussionist. So they have a Jugalbandi duel on the stage. And finally, they all culminate, they have their own solos, which keeps reducing in time. And in the end, they finish it, and then she finishes the song, and she ends up the concert with another piece, small, fast piece, something like that. So that's how it is. Other than that, in Carnatic music, violin is the far most important instrument as accompaniment. Violin is not an Indian instrument; it is a Western instrument. It was brought into India with the Western invasions. And Balaswami Dikshitar is Sri Muthuswami Dikshitar's brother. Muthuswami Dikshitar is a very great composer in Carnatic music. He said, why not try this? And he tried that instrument, he learned it, and he found it is so soothing, it doesn't disturb the singer. Earlier, veena was used. Okay, veena looks similar to sitar, but remember, sitar is very light. Veena is very heavy. Sitar is made out of, I think, a lighter wood, I think akrut wood, I'm not sure. I can be wrong. But veena is made out of jackfruit wood. Jackfruit tree, if you see, it is very lumpy and bulky. It is not too tall. It has to bear the weight of like 10 kilos of jackfruit. And if you see in Kerala, in one tree, there will be hundreds of these jackfruits hanging. right from the trunk base. So imagine that wood would be so strong. So that veena is made out of jackfruit wood, and veena frets don't give you that amount of speed that a singer who's very competent can sing at a much higher speed. So veena doesn't have that amount of volume either. So it was very difficult for a veena to accompany beyond a point, a very good singer. Violin bridged that gap. Now, flute was also there. Flute, what happens is it's little high pitched anyway. Like they have to use a smaller flute in Carnatic music, they don't use the big one. So what happens is it overpowers the sound of the singer sometimes. So that was not working out so much. But violin beautifully joined in. The viola, there's a difference between the violin and the viola. Viola is not used in India. Viola is used in string instrument ensembles in the West. So in viola, it's a little bigger. So movement is hard. If a smaller person is playing, he won't reach the strings at all. It's like bigger. So violin worked best. So violin got incorporated very well. But the veena is one of the oldest instruments used in Carnatic music. The veena has frets like these bridges inside where they pluck from one to the other. That is very similar to our spinal cord. We also have 24 bones there. Exactly the same harmony is created in the veena. So that is amazing how they made that so many years ago. Okay. So yeah, other than that, we have a Chitra Veena. It is the forefather of Veena. In Chitra Veena, they don't touch the strings at all. They have a stone and they move it like this, and they create that. That is like very beautiful. Okay, then other instruments that was incorporated in Carnatic music was mandolin. You have a very great prodigy, U. Srinivas. He's no more. He died very young, but he created a great revolution in Carnatic music. You have clarinet. You have saxophone. Lot of Carnatic musicians are playing saxophone now. Okay, and you have guitar also. So other than that, the poets, the lyricists, or the great composers of both these genres of music. I would just go through that. You have Surdas, Tulsidas, Sant Kabir, Mirabai, Amir Khusro, Bane Nawaz, Mirza Ghalib, to name a few. All of these saints, even in Carnatic music, Purandar Dasa, Bhadrachala Ramadasa, Annamacharya, Kshetraya, Nandanar, Tyagaraja, Muthuswami Dikshitar, Shyama Shastri, Andal, Arunagirinathar, Papanasa Sivan. Then you have Eknath, Namdev, Tukaram, Janabai, Jnaneshwar. Just to name a few, there are so many others. One common thing between all of them is bhakti. Most devotion and total surrender to their Ishtadevata, I would say. And all of them lived their life in abject poverty, extremely poor. They never knew where their next meal will come from. And they never bothered with people. They only were like madly in love with their God. And all they did was, you're there, you'll take care of me. Why do I have to worry? So if you see any of their poetry, this is the essence of their poetry. So what are they trying to tell you? Surrender to your own consciousness and let your true self come out. Be truthful. So that is like an underlying message all these poetries have. They never in their lifetime thought, I'm passing a legacy to the next generation. People should remember me, praise me, use my name, I should be famous. They were not at all for it. You see, Tyagaraja, Muthuswami Dikshitar and all, they have stories of kings coming and telling them, come to my court and sing one song for me. I'll just drown you with money. He didn't go. He didn't have any money. He didn't have any food, nothing. But he didn't go. He said, no, I don't sing for anybody. I only sing for my Rama. So that was the devotion. And I would say the Satyagaraja Aradhana, which is conducted, it was just last month. It's like a exodus of people which come from all over the world. This year, we couldn't do that, but they do come just to attend that function in Tiruvayar. It's in Tanjore district. But that is the power of extreme devotion, that we all have a profession because of him, right? Music is a huge profession because of such selfless people who has just unconditionally given us a huge, big, what to say, heritage. All right. So I would name a few artists in Hindustani music. Bade Ghulam Ali Khan Saab, Ustad Allah Rakha, Sri Annapurna Devi, Ustad Vilayat Khan, Pandit Bhimsen Joshi, Pandit Jasraj. These are the famous ones. Pandit Shiv Kumar Sama, this Ustad Bismillah Khan Sahib, okay, Ustad Amjad Ali Khan Sahib, he is Sarod, Pandit Kumar Gandharva, Paunuskar, Srimati, this one Gangubai Hangal, Pannalal Ghosh. These are the famous ones. I just took a few. We have a very, very long list. Okay. And there's one thing in performance. Just because you're not famous doesn't mean you're not good. Fame comes to only few. Recognition comes to very few. There are countless number of extremely talented and capable artists who do not get a platform. I've not heard of him, can be a very common phrase, but never disregard them because they must be really, really great in their field. Just did not get enough opportunity as the others. So that's a part of life, I know. But in an artist's life, it is a very sad reality. Okay. Carnatic music, you have Alatur brothers. They were the feared most because they would do anything there, because they would come and they will tear the mridangist apart with their singing. The mridangist will not know what to do. That good they were in their music, and they used to calculate everything and sing right there. So they were like something to reckon with. Pushri Srinivasa Iyengar, his story is same. He was like on the streets with no food, no money to drink and eat. Someone picked him up and said, okay, you sing, let me take you somewhere. And turned out to be one of the great composers. Okay. Chemangudi Srinivasa Iyer, M.S. Subbalakshmi, M.L. Vasantakumari, D.K. Pattamal. These ladies coming up in those times, like Gangubai Hangal, very difficult task for a male-dominated society at that time. Okay, so for a lady to get approval was like, it was a big deal. For men, did not need an approval, right? So for ladies to get an approval is a big deal. So if you see any name which is like even 60 years ago, it's a big deal for a lady to get some center and a focus and this kind of a platform, because it would have been an extremely difficult journey. You know, those days, if you are a lady performer, men will not come and play for you. They'll say, we don't play for ladies. It's a very common statement. Even now, a lot of them face that. Just so biased, but it's there. It's there. Okay. So yeah, then GNB, Madhuramani, Gopalakrishna, Veena Dhanamal, she's a very good Veena artist. L. Subramaniam is a violinist. They are three brothers who came from Sri Lanka. They settled in Chennai. Chennai, you know what they did? They were brilliant, means they're like out of the world. And the father was a great musician. He went and asked Madras University, I want a degree. Madras University, go for the course 4 years, then I'll give you. He went to LA, Los Angeles. They said, come, I'll give you honorary degree. Come and take this class in the music college. So he became a professor first. He got the degree, he got the PhD also. So that is one more part of Indian government who doesn't recognize there's so much of red tape and problems that, you know, great talented artists don't get recognized in our country, but they do get recognized and honored in other countries. He is one such case. U. Srinivas was like a prodigy, mandolin. He revolutionized, he brought a foreign instrument into a hardcore, rigid classical system. It's very difficult actually. Chitravira Ravikiran, Flute Ramani, Vikku Vinayak Ram, he's a Ghattam player, Mysore Brothers, Malaya. There are a lot of people who have come up because a lot of encouragement and a lot of corporates have come into the world to encourage Carnatic music and Hindustani music, even semi-classical music. All types of folk is also encouraged because people are wanting to listen nowadays to what used to be a heritage in India before, so that awareness is actually slowly coming in, which is a good thing and actually is very reassuring. Okay, so who are these people? So what used to happen earlier was, earlier kings, see this, the thing was, when king will come, he will create a temple. The temple will be constructed in 40-50 years. It will take a huge plan will be put up. It will take 40-50 years. Half the land men will be working on it, and that structure will come out beautifully. And that structure will have a lot of depictions of sculptures of different thematic. If the Shiva temple will be all about Shiva's great history and music, this love for these things, that things, Ganas, lot of stories of Shiva. So similarly of other gods will be depicted. So from that, and it was just not created, there was a scientific approach to it. So they would say, like nowadays they show so much in YouTube, right? You can see yourself, like when you draw a line from Mount Kailasha to Rameshwaram, all the Shivalinga temples fall in line. How can that be possible? They didn't have a map at that time, right? Very few could reach Kashmir. It was so far. So yeah, so those things were kept in mind. A lot of science and astrology, astronomy was used in constructing a temple. So very rarely something went wrong. Like if you see the story behind Brigadishwara temple. So yeah, I'm glad, Jatin. If you see Brigadishwara, a very interesting story. That Shivalinga is like more than 1 floor high. One Shivalinga, okay, huge and massive it is. The temple is very beautiful. It is 1,000 years old, and when the king constructed the temple's structure is such, it doesn't have a shadow anywhere at any time of the year. Okay, no shadow. How amazing, right? And each structure of the temple is they have not put any mortar, nothing. It's just sitting like blocks, one top of the other. And on almost the highest level of the temple, the carving depicts a European lady with a hat. You know, Europeans never came to India until about Shivaji's time. Okay, how did they know? They constructed that and put them specifically there. It was in destinies of India that a foreign invasion will come and a queen will come and rule. See, amazing, right? So that apart, in this Shivalinga, what happened was they brought this rock to Tanjavur from the Deccan Plateau. How far that is, right? Like how many thousands of tons, I don't know. That's one rock to create the Shivalinga. And they brought it all the way there. And when they consecrated the Shivalinga, the ground cracked. That's it. The king was devastated and he died in sorrow. Because once the ground cracks, you can't do puja to that linga. The energy coming out of it is crooked. So even today, people go and visit that temple because it's very beautiful. But prayers are not done beyond a point. All what is to be done for a Shivalinga will not be done in that temple. They don't do it. They created.
Ma'am, will you please repeat the name of that temple?
Brigadishwara temple.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Brigadishwara temple. Very beautiful. I went about a few years again. I went twice actually, just to see that temple. Very beautiful. But Tanjavur is super green. You should all take a chance. It's like cheap to go there because they are not very visited places. They're very beautiful. You just go there. Anything you eat there is amazingly tasty because it's an extremely fertile land. And remember, if you know history of Shivaji's brother was in Tanjore, right? He did not give him the Tanjore. Why? Because very rich heritage. Tanjore was the center of the entire south. Culturally, everything. The Kaveri river flows there. So extremely rich, fertile land, excellent rice. Anything you grow there, it will grow well. So that's what it is. So a lot of temples there. This is one of the more popular temples. There are musical and dance festivals done every year. They're very beautiful ambience. You should definitely go. And in south, many temples are Shivaji Maharaj lineage. So they are Maharashtrian Saraswat Brahmin priest only in many of the temples. So they wear the purple dhoti and they are there. So see the cultural things. They also chant in that only. Their own things. There is no Iyengar South Indian piece there. So that's one thing.
I had one question. Will you please tell something about Kotilingeshwaram temple in Karnataka, I guess, if you know?
I am not too familiar with that. I see there are so many temples. I just thought I'll pick up one or two because then I don't want to be wrong on it because there are a lot of specifics that you should, I respect these temples a lot. So unless you have studied, I've studied that in detail, I really can't tell you that. So I'm wanting to stick about the significance of sculpture. I just got deviated actually. The reason I picked up the temple was, because the sculptures and the what is the inner thought of constructing a temple was just not casual in those days. There had a lot of thought in creating one, and these poets, they traveled like anything. I was talking about poets, right? They travel like enormously. They'll be on the go all the time. And when they go to specific spots, sthalas, it's called sthalam. Sthalam means place. They would create out of inspiration poetry based on that deity there. And they would some of them would give clues as to, the river flowing here, this Ganapati here in the river Tata. Tata means Tata Nivasini means on the banks of the river. So she stays there, the Devi. So like that they will give clues. So beautiful poetry based on their travel journeys, and all of them have had extremely divine interventions. Right, it be Urdu composers or anybody, when you go searching inside your soul, you do find God. That's what I'm trying to say. It is a very spiritual connection that you have with it. So that's one thing. And so that's how it was. All the Maharajas, big merchants, they used to promote and encourage a lot of artists. A lot of Mughal, Akbar had a lot of great artists and powerful ministers in his. So that brings up his esteem and his pride and his position. See, there's such a big, great Mughal emperor. He's got such great artists in his darbar. It's a big pride for them. Tansin was there, Baiju Barwa, you've heard of that story, right? So like that. And then later on, when times changed, when independence was taken, Government of India took the responsibility. They give Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan, Bharat Ratna for a lot of artists, performing artists, painters, sculptures, lot of environmentalists, but there's an artist quota as such. Other than that, in local levels also, state governments give a lot of scholarships for studying upcoming artists. So you already reached a level, you're performing, you want to go for this level of course and recognition. They say, I will fund you for this, you go and learn from this artist, because they have to keep the art alive in the world, means in the country. So they do this. Then you have AIR, that is All India Radio. That is a very big prestige to have, as you are certified as an AIR artist. That's a big deal. Doordarshan artist, that's a very big deal. So that all comes along with your progression as a musician. That is, other than that, lot of corporates now come and fund and conduct programs, and they take artists. They have platforms for each level of artists. So these are the opportunities that artists get. Other than teaching as such, teaching doesn't get you any remuneration, but this is a name and recognition, and that is a part of being an artist. So they conduct a lot of festivals, they sponsor a lot of festivals, they make good arrangements, and they make good facilities for the audiences and the artists. They give good exposure, they relate in TV. A lot of TV channels also relay this. So it is a circle. It is very important for an artist to be a part of it, in order to even, he has to sustain too. After all, he also has a family and everything. So that is there. Yeah. Even now you have this called Gandharva Mahavidyalaya. they have this examinations which is conducted every year for music and dance. So that has a lot of weightage. They have those a lot of, I think, 7 exams or something. When you do that, you get you have a percentile, maybe 10%. I'm not sure. I'm not very sure, but I know something. Some percentile you get as a concession when you apply for higher education because you have done this course. So they give you initiative.
4%, ma'am. 4%.
Something like that. Yeah, I know something. I'm aware of it, but I'm not very sure. Yeah, so that is there. They're giving initiatives because they need to promote. Our culture is too good. We should not lose it. Then Indian music abroad. The Indian music abroad is a very big thing. See, I moved out in 2001. I moved out of the country. I was in Mumbai. At that time, there's not much going on, but within 5-6 years, the amount of students and children learning classical form of art and music has grown like in hundreds. Hundreds, I would say. If there was a competition, there will be 3 participants. Same organization, the competition is 350 participants now. They take the entire school, 19 rooms are open for competitions. Can you beat that? Okay, and the students really sit and work hard. They can't pronounce half the things, but they just follow the words and they come and they sing and they're grilled. To the earlier, the local teachers would be the judges. Now they call artists from Chennai and ask them to come and judge. That is the level that they are interested in now. This is, I'm talking about one place. Like this, all over the world, wherever Indians have gone, they have also, what happens is when you are away from your land, you miss terribly. And what you take for granted on an everyday basis becomes a privilege for you to even experience. So what happens is you become very emotional about it and you try to revive it. That's what happens. And because of that, artists from all over India got a platform to come. Like everything is voluntary when you come abroad. So some parent will pick you up, they will host you, they will drop you in the venue, pick you up. The person who's working as a CEO of a company will be vacuuming on the stage, putting up the chairs, everybody, the whole family, the entire Indian community is involved in it. The one who's a techie will sit, he is managing the entire keyboard, mic system. The other one is announcing. So everybody is a voluntary. And they do it just to perform and get their child an experience to listen to that. And there's like the high involvement of everybody there. And it has grown like 100, not even 100%, much more. Like this, earlier there would be like 2 programs in 6 months, 2 concerts. Now there are 4 concerts every weekend, minimum. So you don't know where to go. There's so many concerts. There's so much of artists who come from Chennai, from North, everywhere they come. And not only that, when they come, they get to mingle with people there. They get a lot of students who are from abroad, and all these students, who the ones who are serious, they come every vacation. Like we have 2 vacations, one is in Christmas and one is in June, July, August. They're all here, going to their respective guru's hometown to learn. That's all they do. They don't go anywhere else. They just sit and learn and they go back. Every time they come and they learn. I know of several of them who have done their masters, they finished their education there. They come and settle here and become full-time musicians. That has been a change in the past 20 years. I'm talking about just US. I don't know about the others, but I'm definitely sure it's the same everywhere too. It's become very, very, very where programs, competitions. The Cleveland Aradhana, which I've just mentioned, it's in Cleveland. It is in April, March. Um, 1,000 students participate. 1,000 students participate. It is held for just one day. 1,000 students are evaluated. Entire big conferences room, the 26, 27 rooms are taken. Each category, if there is a vocal, 9 to 11 is the age group, girls separate, boys separate. At least 300 children in one category of 3 levels, 3 age, 9, 10, 11 age. That is the toughness of competition there. So that's how people have taken up NRA community, especially they sponsor so much for these artists. They brought a lot of exposure and hope, because whatever said and done, they definitely need to have a good life. Like if you are an IT professional or you are a chartered accountant and you have become good in your studies and you're gonna, this performing art field is no less. It's very demanding and extremely challenging, very difficult to evolve over a period of time, because it is equally tough as any other field or education. Okay. And other than that, recently formed, there is, at least in the US, I can tell you, there's something called a university, young university called Silicon Andhra. It's in California. A group of IT professionals and music lovers have created this university with a lot of pain. It is recognized throughout the US in every US university. Their certificate is valid, and they have started master's program, PhD program for performing dance and music. It's a big deal. So such young universities have cropped up abroad just for Indian classical music, semi-classical also. They have a lot of, because of this, because of the lack of culture they get, the earning that they have, the NRIs. So they have created all this. There is schools of, uh, there's a Tamil school next to me. It's all voluntary. All the parents turn teachers there, and everybody contributes, and the place is taken for rent and everything. Everything is voluntary. Nobody earns anything. 500 students. Okay, I'm just talking about one venue. So like that, there is Telugu school. There is all the South Indians learn Hindi. I don't know why they learn Hindi, but they're learning Hindi. They all go to Hindi class on Friday evenings. So like that, a lot of cultural, what to say, culturally, India has shifted a lot of pockets in the world where Indians live. It's very important. So that apart, we'll go to a little different topic, like the fusion music that you all are all familiar with now. Fusion music, some of the pieces I hear are like brilliant. So what they do is they take a classical form and they add the folk to it, and they create a harmony between both old but new, right? So it's a very difficult task to revive our older history, but it's priceless. It's a commendable job and a very courageous thing that some youngsters are doing. And I really, really appreciate their hard work, because it takes a lot of creativity. Yeah, A.R. Rahman is a master at it. He has brought in a lot of, what to say, older chorus. He's excellent at that. And instruments which are not heavy on the beat also. He has done both, I would say. He thinks out of the box. That's what my feeling is. He has a simplistic approach. At the same time, whatever is demanded, he's able to deliver. That is like very important for an established figure to give what happens is, when you are young and you're coming up, you are like creative, you want to think out of the box, make something new. But once you evolve and reach, then you are stuck. Then you don't want to create, you want to be in your, because this is what sells, then you become commercial. So when a person still holds his original thoughts and still does it, it gives a platform to others, and others, the audience, are willing to give these youngsters a chance to listen. So that is something which every person in his life, at least an artist, should remember to give back as he got a chance. That is very important. Many of them don't do, some of them do. So I would say, if classical music, some people say, is dying, or music in general, traditional music, not classical music. Traditional music is not looked upon as a great thing. They want to listen to a more Western influence. It is more upon the artist to make it more, what to say, audience friendly to a certain extent, not totally. What happens, the more familiar you are, the more you will go and listen to it, right? So that didn't happen because of the caste system predominantly, I would say. But now things have changed a lot. There's nothing of that kind. I would definitely say it is a uh, uh, um, duty of every citizen or Indian to preserve what we have, because if it's lost, it's gone. It's very important. Okay, folk music, yeah, as I told you, then digital platform. Hands up, I'm like amazed at what has happened in this 1 year. Like, I could not even imagine that all the digital media, like YouTube and Zoom, Skype, this Google Meet has like exploded people's ability to connect. So, for example, like I've come down because my family is all COVID, so they just recovered. So I come down to help out. But I take class in the morning, so US time. So I get up in the morning like 4 and I start class. By 7, I'm done. But even when I was there, I was taking class from home in Zoom only, because we're not meeting up at all. There, people are at home, not like here, they're at home. So I take class on Zoom and I come here. I was a little apprehensive. How will it go? It no difference. I could not even imagine I would do this couple of years ago. So look at that. I can take off in comfort. If it's me, just such a small thing I'm doing. For people who are dying to burst and connect with different genres of music, it is like a blessing. I don't know. God has just showered such possibilities at you. We should all grab for it. So nowadays, what they do is one person makes an innovation, like makes some music, sends it across to 10 other people. They put their collaboration, they stick it on, add on to it, send it back, and they play their own piece. And then once you see in YouTube when they premiere it, there are about 15 musicians and singers singing at the same time. So well sung by the one who has put in the digital input. Hats off to him, he's added everybody together as if they perform together. So that is an amazing possibility. So that is like really, really good. That day I saw a video of a interview. It was just an interview, but I'm definitely sure it can be done in music too. That two people are interviewing each other, and one is in California and one is in LA, or I don't know where, in Boston, I think, not LA. One is in California, one is in, and they're touching toes. They're not together at all, and the background is the same as each other's house. Like the background is common, not each other. It's a common background. It looks as if they're sitting together, but they're in two different coasts, and the interview has been conducted. So imagine what possibility that will give you to music also. So music is going to lose all boundaries according to what I see it going, and why not? It should not have any boundaries, is what I feel. And Indian classical music is so divine, and it's like evolved over one of the oldest forms, right? So all musicians throughout the world, they seek it. That's my observation. They come and search for something which they did not find in their experience, and they do find it here. That is the greatness of Indian music, not classical, Indian music. So many different genres, so much variety is there that you pick anything and you can, and nothing is great or less. There's nothing of that kind. It's what you relate to that matters to you, and that's about. So that's what it is. Yeah, Indian music in the movies. Does anybody have anything to say? At least in this, I would love to hear from someone. What are your thoughts on it?
Arijit Singh.
Okay, that is new. Uh, yeah, not the singer as
Lata
such.
Mangeshkar.
Like, yeah, not the personality. What did you find? Do you see anything old and new being mixed? Can you say one song like that or something, some your experience?
Lots of remixes, sometimes good, but sometimes I feel the old songs are very awesome.
Yeah, because you know what?
Yeah.
There's a lot of calmness in the older songs. Calmness, they calm. They're fast also, but it's not like loud. It's calm. So when you listen to it, it's just very pleasant listening, right? So Indian music has, I would say, the earlier, um, I would say all of them, not only one. All musicians in movie making songs is they're all very well trained in classical music. Only then you can create something. If you don't have a fundamental base, you can't create anything out of it, right? So if you take anybody, as you said, Arjit Singh, Lata Mangeshkar, Rasa Bhosle, Rafi, Kishore Da, then you have all these great composers, Naushad, Kalyan Jananji, Khayyam, Hopi Nahir, Anand Bakshi, all these people, A.R. Rahman, S.P. Balasubramaniam, Chitra, she's a very good singer in the South, Ilayaraja, she is A.R. Rahman's mentor. So all these people are extremely well versed in music, Carnatic classic or classical music, Hindustani, Carnatic, both. Some of them they even do Western. They do because from there they source their inspiration. That's they need a base. That is base is classical music. From there they create more and more creativity. Sometimes right, sometimes wrong. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not. But the base is classical music. That gives you the core element to grow. So that is very important. And our Indian music is very unique. Can anybody tell me why? Why is it different from other movie musics of other countries?
because it contains all kinds of music like pop, Indian classical music,
Okay. What else?
Sufi, and
What else? Ours is the only Hindi movies or any Indian movie. Out of the blue, we'll have a song in between, right? But that's fun. You need to break the movie somewhere, right? That doesn't happen in most movies abroad. But so many of them they watch it just for that. Because it's how can you sing and dance in the middle of a movie? And we say, why not? We are Indians. And be proud about it. There's nothing wrong about it. Yeah, even action, when he hitting them song will be going on in the background, right? And for us, it makes a lot of common sense because we are inbred in it, right? For someone who's not used to it, they find it, okay, this doesn't make logical sense. So, but we say when there's creativity and imagination, not everything needs to make logical sense, right? It can have some fun and some nonsense in it, right? So that is the greatness of, I would say, Indian movies, that they just find a simple situation and they create a melodic form of the storyline itself, right? Many a times it is actually the poetry is telling the inner feelings of a particular person in poetry. And what a beautiful way to say it. So, and not only that, amazing artist, amazing team of musicians, directors, everybody together makes this happen. So, Indian movies, in a way, is, I would say, a huge source of familiarizing mass media of India towards music. Not everybody used to go to a concert in a temple to listen. But when movies came, that was the biggest open media for everybody to listen. And those days when movies were being made, pure themes of rags were used, like Ahir Bahira or something like that, Pasant Bahar, Megh Malhar. They will be used in their organic way. And they created amazing music. And lot of this great maestros have also sung in it. Lot of them have sung in it, not for the sake of money or something, but it was like a song movie made on Tansing. He said, I need to sing for it. So that is an honor that they felt to contribute their voice and their time towards this music. So Indian music has also evolved a lot. It has come a long way. And they've used a lot of rags like Todi, Basant Bahar, Megh Malhar, as I said, Kiravani. This Kiravani is the rag which is used in this Bajirao Mastani. When she enters, right? First time, she dances that court scene. Diwani Mastani, something like that. That is Kiravani rag. If you listen to it carefully, it is purely classical. In that movie, I think most of the songs that they've taken is in its most classical form they've taken. It is like, it is nice. It is like, not everybody does it because it can hit and miss the audience, right? It's very difficult to sell to a mass media. So that is also a great contribution by Indian movie in all genres. All genres they have done that. So yeah, and Indian music has influenced Western culture a lot. So if you see any Indian dominated area, all the those the citizens of this country which live, like if I'm there, Americans are there, they are dancing Bhangra in their college, school. If I one day I went for a meeting and then there was loud Dalar Mandi. I said, what? And see, all those white kids are dancing. I said, good Lord, they are busy. They're busy learning the steps and they're fully involved. And there's a fight over who will be thrown out, because nobody wants to leave. So it's like that. In Rutgers is the State College of New Jersey. And there's an Asian night. Okay, tickets are sold the day it is announced 6 months ago. Tickets are just sold. Nobody has a ticket to spare, and everybody is fighting to participate because it's nothing. It's Asian theme, but everybody wants to dance in it because the tunes are catchy. They love those songs. They've already memorized most of it. They have no idea what language it is, but they have memorized it. So Indian music from the movies is extremely popular abroad, extremely popular, more than you think. So that is the, I would say, influence of Indian movie in out of the, I mean, in other parts of the world actually. So yeah, then okay. So if anybody has a question, I would like to take it up at this point of time. Anybody wants to say something, share some information, they can definitely go ahead. Okay, so I'll continue. Yeah. So I'll continue. So what else does music do? Other than all this that I covered, what do you think? What does music do to you? What is your personal experience in listening to a very favorite song of yours? How do you experience that music? Nobody? Okay, I'll go ahead. So what is music? Music has a universal touch. Like when you have a sport like soccer, football, everybody in the world comes together to just see that goal happen. Or when you take cricket, everybody comes together. It unifies you. Sport unifies you. That is why it is great. Same way, music unifies you towards others. Like if you sit with someone and enjoy a song, you're just so in sync with that person and the song. You're in a good mood. So good mood creates positivity in your body. It creates positive energy in your body. Positive energy creates a better circulatory system. It calms the brain down. It brings down your stress, anxiety. It lessens the acidity in your body. Most important, the minute the acidity level in your body comes down, your digestive system works well, the blood circulation is better, your breathing is better, you are better. That's what music is supposed to do to you. Definitely so. So that is what is actual music. It can be a simple song and it just makes you calm. When you are calm, aren't you a better person? Right? You're a better person. You are at a better frame of mind to handle the situation, which is not going to change. But when you are a calmer person, you can handle the situation better. So that's what music does to you. Makes you a better person. Right? That is very important. Whenever you're stressed, pick a sound, any song, any chant, anyone you like, and just sit and give yourself 2 minutes. Don't become restless. That I would urge all youngsters to do because I find, see, when we were young, Not that I'm not young, but still, when I was your age, we didn't have this exposure. We had a TV which would work in the evening once in a while, or we'll have something on a Sunday to see, and that's about it. We had to go down to play with our friends. Our exposure was our parents or the textbook that we had. Sometimes, if we were lucky, we had a library. That's it. But for you are the millennial crowd. So you're born in a totally different world. Okay. So when you were born, your mother was taking a selfie with you. So that's that is your life. So that is different. It's very different. So what happens is your exposure to a lot of things, necessary, not necessary, good and bad, is like a million times more than what I have experienced or my generation experienced. So as a child grows up, you don't need that amount of exposure. What happens is everything subconsciously affects you somewhere. It does. So at that point of time, your stress level, which you go through at this point of time, is much higher than I would have gone through at my age. That is a fact. So at that time, knowing that situation is not going to change, what do you do about it? The simplest thing is you can listen to a music. Bring down your levels of stress. Some of you I know are staying away from your house, staying at hostels and dormitories here. It's extremely difficult because it can be very depressing on certain days. It is. I've seen a lot of children go through it. And it's a sad situation right now with a lot of people sick. Okay, not able to get resources, not getting funding for a lot of things, especially education, because the resources less, right? So with all those things, you have to find a solution. But if you are a little calmer, it always helps. What do? So you listen to something which makes you feel you have gone into a meditative state. It can be Hindi music, Telugu music, film music, any music, folk music, classical music, semi-classical music. You pick one and that's the one for you. There's no right and wrong. Listen to it, sit down and start breathing in and out with the music. Okay? Music is another form of prayer for yourself, not for anybody else. It's just doing for yourself. So that if calms you down, do it more, because it will help you handle life and stress much better. Okay, so it is a therapy. A lot of people, when the child is born, at least in Western countries, they give the child immediately to the mother with the blood and everything to hug, because the first time the child is seeing light and exposed to the outer world, the only thing it can relate is the heartbeat of the mother. So the mother is supposed to hold like this and keep the baby cuddled for a while, and then they take the child and they clean it up and all that thing is done. But that's the first thing they do. So because the child's first life in the womb, when it's like conceived, the only thing that the child hears is heartbeat of the mother. That's why I started with the heartbeat of the mother. So that's how it is. It's so therapeutic, and it is scientifically proven. It's done in all Western countries. I'm not sure about here, but all Western countries, they do it. So definitely listen to music. It is another form of prayer. You don't need to know hundreds of chants. You just listen to a good music. Heal yourself, heal your mind, heal your body and your heart, and it will help you be a better person the next minute. Okay, I'm hoping that you like this lecture. Thank you so much to have been so patient to listen to me. Thanks Divya a lot. I'm not very sure if she's there. Yeah, I think she's there.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. I mean, it was such a pleasure to listen to you. Thank you. Thanks a lot, ma'am. If any students want to ask doubts, you can definitely ask doubts. and then Karan can end by saying a vote of thanks. Students, if you have any doubts, please do.
Ma'am, can you please sing something in Rag, Deepak?
Deepak, I don't know, but I can. I see. I'm a Carnatic musician.
So
You
there's a
ask me
different
Carnatic
raga
music,
bit
I
for
will know.
Carnatic.
चलेगा मैम.
I can
Then
play
yes,
something for you.
that's one thing. I mean, we do want to listen to you.
Okay. Can I play something for you?
Sure.
I'll,
Yes,
I'll
ma'am,
play
sure, ma'am.
something. Yeah, we'll do one thing. I actually forgot to do it. I'll play something. You tell me how you feel. Okay? Listening to that song.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay? How did this make you feel? What is the first emotion you get to hear when you hear this? Pleasant, right? Just pleasant. Who will say pleasant? Okay. Now you listen to this one, okay? What was this like?
Was this like emotional or sad?
Sad. Sad, right?
Yes, ma'am, emotional,
Yeah,
sad.
very sad. So this is like a sad raga. It's called Shubhu Bantu raga. Now another one, okay? Bright, energetic, auspicious.
Yes.
Hamsatwan. Okay. Now one more. Okay. Happier, little happier, right? Okay. Now one more. Very heavy, right? Deeper, very heavy, because the oscillation is more, right? So this is like one of the major ragas. So this is performed when there's a more of a serious music audience, okay? And then it is generally in the heart of the concert, in the middle of the concert they perform. It's called Todi, okay? Then one more, okay? little dramatic,
Yes.
right? Like Shivji's sound. When Shiva comes, this kind of sound. So many of ragas, this Shiva's songs are in this raga. Dheem, dheem, tananana, dheem, dheem, tananana, dheem, 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 nadra, dheem, tomdra, dheem, tanadiram, dheem, dheem, tanata, dheem, dheem, tanata, tom, 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 tatam, tam, tam, dheem, dheem. Very dramatic, right? So last one, okay? Very masculine, very high energy. Dramatic. So each raga, I'll do this beam plus L, okay? As I said, this is an afternoon raga, very light and pleasant. So each raga gives a lot of varied emotions. So if you listen, as you listen more and more, you analyze that raga more. So any music is like that. As long as music relates to you, I would definitely say listen to music. There's no right and wrong music. As long as it relates to you and makes you a more calmer person, that's the music for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such a kind interaction with students and for sharing your valuable time with us. Today's generation crave for the vast knowledge you possess. Thank you again for sharing it with us. I hope everyone liked today's session. Let's end this session right now. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much for
Thank
having
you.
me. I really
Thank you,
enjoyed it.
ma'am.
Ma'am, and your
Thank you,
smile
ma'am.
is very, it's very energetic, I should say. I mean,
Yes,
not
ma'am.
only your entire interaction, the entire time your smile was really,
No,
it's
I
keeping us
just
also energized.
I just love to have students, and I just love to have students and kids. To me, 20-year-old is also like a 5-year-old. They only grow, but
Yes,
not mature.
yes, that's
They
true.
don't.
That's
So
true.
I don't treat them any different, because every child, uh, I think until they turn 35, they're still small kids. So I treat them all in the same way.
Thank you,
Even though I
ma'am.
don't see
Thanks a
them
lot.
physically, I can feel their presence. So I'm very, very happy. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thank you. Good. Okay, ma'am. Bye.